Welcome to the Dropping Dimes podcast, and here's your host, J.I. Dimes.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Dropping Dimes podcast, presented by Yo and Yes. Many thanks also to Snuggle Moments BH for sponsoring this episode. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about Game 4 of the NBA Finals, wherein the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Miami Heat 102-96. Anthony Davis and LeBron James led the way. Davis had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 4 dimes, 1 steal, and 4 blocks, while LeBron had 28 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1 steal. Key contributors for the Lakers, other key contributors, of course, KCP, who has been struggling throughout the series, had 15 points. Danny Green also had 10 points. Markieff Morris and Rajon Rondo, together with Alex Caruso, also made their contributions. Especially Rondo, just facilitating well. Kyle Kuzma also added 9 points. Now for the Miami Heat, they were led again by Jimmy Butler, who had 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, to go with 3 steals and 1 block. Of course, young Tyler Hero also had 21 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists. And then the returning Bam Adebayo had 15 points and 7 rebounds, while Duncan Robinson, another big game for Duncan Robinson, as he had 17 points. Now, for the team stats, the Lakers shot better from the field at 44%. 44.3% to be very exact, while the Heat shot 42.7%. The 3-point discrepancy is still not that big. Miami hit 11 threes, while the Lakers hit 14 threes. But of course, in a close game, that's the difference maker. There was a part of during I think that was early in the third quarter. Miami really had a big advantage when it comes to free throws. But then eventually, looking at the final stats, the Lakers eventually caught up. They ended up with 21 free throws as well, while the Heat had 26. The assists, the Lakers won 25-18. They out-rebounded Miami again, as expected, but again, the discrepancy was only 3 rebounds. And this advantage actually came from the offensive rebounds, wherein the Lakers had 10, while Miami only had 7. Miami also had a lot of steals. They had 8. The Lakers' woes in the past few games, the turnovers, they only had 15 this time around. I know that's still kind of high, but it's better than the previous games. And they also were able to take advantage of the 11 turnovers of the Miami Heat and converted them into 19 points. Miami also had 21 fouls called on them, while the Lakers only had 14. Okay, so what really changed? What was really what were the takeaways in game number 4? As mentioned, this was a hard-fought, very 90s or probably 2000s or 2010s kind of game, wherein it was low scoring, it was physical, and people were attacking. They were going to the basket, but ironically, the 3 pointers were the ones that actually made the difference. When the Lakers were able to create that separation, it actually came from 3-point makes. So of course, if you watch the game, the big Anthony Davis three that really sealed the deal. There was also that KCP three from the corner that was also very crucial. And then of course the LeBron three, that was against Bam Adebayo. That was also a very crucial three. Duncan Robinson, on the other hand, also made a lot of very, very difficult threes during the game. And also Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is just a bucket getter. He made all these tough shots. But again, of course, one thing that probably Hero can really work on is, the confidence is already there. That's good, but maybe the efficiency. Sometimes he's taking very tough shots that end up actually hurting the team. Of course, the NBA is known as a make or miss league. There was this one possession wherein the Heat were, I think Tyler Hero missed the three, and then it led to a 3-pointer for the Lakers. So instead of taking the lead, they actually ended up being down bigger. So again, the point of the breaks of the game, as we call them, that's really that's sometimes the difference, the difference maker between winning and losing. As the cliche goes, or that movie cliche goes, it's a game of inches. So the game was really close. It was anybody's game. But then the Lakers just got the breaks towards the end. LeBron took over in the second half. He was struggling in the first half, and then he just had 20 points all of a sudden in the second half. Now, as mentioned also in the previous episode, the tough thing about what Miami is doing is that the over-reliance on Jimmy Butler. He played 43 minutes and 26 seconds today. He had a great game. Well, not as great as what he had in Game 3, wherein he had a 40-point triple-double. But tonight, he only had 22 points. He didn't make a three. He only went to the line 7 times this time around. So those key points that were mentioned, that Butler can't average. Butler can't always have a 40-point triple-double. Butler is not really that comfortable or not that confident when it comes to making threes. He would rather take those mid-range shots or penetrations. And then, of course, if he doesn't get the call, then this is what happens. He ended up with 7 free throws only. Well, the Heat did benefit from the fact that Tyler Hero shot 3 for 7 from 3. Duncan Robinson shot 3 for 6 from 3. But of course, that's what you expect from your shooters, right? So for those who watched the game, what really happened was let's start first with the Lakers. It was very evident that when the Lakers are really in transition, meaning they're playing with pace. They're scoring from they're turning their defense into offense. They are so dangerous and they're so unstoppable when that happens. They can turn a 2 point lead into a big lead when they start doing that. And Miami actually did a very good job in preventing that, except in that stretch in the fourth quarter wherein the Lakers just had that crucial run that gave them enough cushion to win the game. But again, as I've said, it's so unstoppable. The Lakers just become almost unstoppable when they're playing with pace and they're running and they're scoring at ease. Then another thing for the Lakers, of course, last time Anthony Davis only had 15 points. He was in foul trouble. The day he wasn't in foul trouble, he was able to play 41 minutes without having to worry about his fouls. And the AD effect was in full blast. Defensively he was elite. This guy is an elite defender. He just impacts the floor both on offense and defense. You can just give him the ball on offense, but the real impact really of AD today was his defense. He had 4 blocks, and he made sure that these penetrations. He even had that big block on Jimmy Butler, so that was crucial. And then we also saw the importance of the other guys for the Lakers. KCP's 15 points. What a time to come for those 15 points. That penetration in the fourth quarter. He had that jelly layup working for him, and then he hit that big corner 3 from LeBron's assist. That was crucial. And he, even though Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero were scoring, the fact that they were taking difficult shots, that was actually enough. They're not, if they're making them, it's okay if they're making them as long as they were taking tough shots. Another crucial thing was, of course, the playmaking of Rajon Rondo. Yes, he shot only 1 for 7. Yes, his only layup was that layup during the fourth quarter. But the way he was running the team, people don't realize how important that is for LeBron, because it also allows LeBron to rest when Rondo is actually facilitating. And the real strength of Rajon Rondo is the way he runs the team and the way he ensures that plays will not be wasted and that they're going to be getting good shots. And then we also noticed that one last thing for the Lakers, the defense. People forget that when the Lakers are running and gunning, people forget how great they are defensively, and that's actually the reason why the Lakers are 1 win away from a championship. Yes, you may say Anthony Davis, LeBron James. Yeah, but the team in general, Frank Vogel is known to be a defensive guru. And that's what this team is about. It's a defensive team. So as long as they are doing their jobs defensively the way they should, it's really hard to beat them. It's just tough to beat a team that is so good defensively, and the length as well. And they also have a lot of versatility. Now we are seeing Markieff Morris playing the center. Why? Because he has the ability to stretch the floor. He's also perfect for switching. And then he's not a bad defender at all. So he played 30 minutes. He had 19 points last game. Today he had 9 points. He made crucial threes. He was only 2 for 7, but those 2 threes were important. So very good those are, I think, the keys for the Lakers. Okay, now for the Heat. Let's proceed to the Heat. Again, good thing for the Heat. Bam Adebayo played well. Of course, this is a gutsy move on his part. We're very sure he's not 100%, but he's just doing this for the team. He had 15 points, 7 rebounds. He shot 6 for 8. He was kind of in foul trouble. You know, there was this stretch, and before the first half ended, we're in Coach Polstra left Adebayo in the game, and they were supposed to, it was okay, but then he ended up actually fouling, and he picked up his third foul towards, before the half ended, and that really hurts, because I think in the third quarter he picked up his fourth. And of course, the fact that he's in foul trouble, it also lessens his aggressiveness in defense. And in a way, of course, it allowed the Lakers to attack. And of course, it's still good for Miami that he is playing now. Unfortunately, of course, with Adebayo back, that means no more minutes also for Myers Leonard, and then Kelly Olynyk, also lesser minutes for him. He only played 12 minutes. Kelly Olynyk has been big for them since Adebayo's injury, or since getting those minutes, not just with Bam Adebayo getting injured, but more importantly, getting those minutes. Today, he only had 4 points. He didn't hit a 3, and he only had 2 rebounds. And then also Kendrick Nunn, he kept on. Well, Jeff Van Gundy would always say that it's okay to have confidence, but you also need to produce. It's not just a matter of having confidence. What makes Tyler Hero so mesmerizing with his performance here in the playoffs is the fact that Tyler Hero has so much confidence, but he's also producing. He's putting up buckets. First, he now has this meme. But for Kendrick Nunn, it's been a struggle here in the playoffs. He made the all-rookie team, all-rookie first team. He tried to, I think he shot a little bit too much. He took 11 attempts, made only 2 of them, shot 18%, had 6 points. That was kind of tough. And then Jay Crowder was also not in his usual element, 2 for 7. Then, of course, again, just like what I mentioned, Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Buckets cannot always have a 40-point triple-double, but more importantly, he was a little passive in Game 4. It wasn't like the Jimmy Butler in Game 3 where he just kept on attacking and trash-talking LeBron, etc. Today was a more, let's say, a little passive. I don't want to use the term passive on Jimmy Butler, but he wasn't as aggressive today. And there was this one emphasis that was being emphasized. There was this emphasis, I think it was Mark Jackson who said this. Every time there was a pick and roll, they were giving the space. They gave the space to Butler. On the other hand, the Heat gave the space to LeBron. It's just that LeBron made threes. LeBron made the crucial threes, those long distance threes, while Butler took three triple attempts, but then he didn't make one. So the hesitation to actually take those threes, they were daring him. Okay, take the shot if you want, but then we're not going to allow you to penetrate. And then when you do, because Anthony Davis is not in foul trouble, then they really let Davis, or if not, LeBron, take Jimmy Butler. They took that challenge of guarding Jimmy Butler, and it worked. They were able to contain him. No 40-point triple-double. He only had 22 points. And most importantly, he only shot 7 free throws. Okay, so for the Miami Heat, the problem that you might say, well, it's a make or miss league. Had they made certain shots, probably they would have won the game. Yes, but of course, we only rely on the final score as well. We can't, those almost made shots are not considered as made shots, right? So they still account to 0. So for the Heat, I think the missing factor was, I have nothing against Bam Adebayo. I am a big fan of this kid. He's a hard worker and all of that. But I think when they had Kelly Olynyk had this one particular role in offense, and that is to stretch the floor. On the other hand, with Bam, of course, Bam would try to bully his way in, right? And that kind of made it easier for the Lakers to defend him because it also lessened the space. Because you don't want to let, even if Adebayo has the ability to hit threes, which, well, of course, he will not do so. He will not take those threes, but he does have the ability to take them. Right? Checking. But the problem is when it's more congested inside, then of course it's also harder to attack. Right? And then unlike when Olynyk was the one playing, it's hard to let Olynyk get open looks. I'm not saying you play Kelly Olynyk over Bam Adebayo, but I think for Miami to succeed, Kelly Olynyk has to still play well. He will be a big contributor for them. That X factor if he can contribute, and also Kendrick Nunn. There was this game, Kendrick Nunn was starting to play better the day he did not play well. Okay, and then it's hard to also put all the pressure on Duncan Robinson to keep on making these threes. They were really trying to set him up together with Tyler Hero, right? But they made a lot of tough threes. It's hard to rely on tough threes. They need to get better looks as well, and that will only happen if the floor will kind of open up, right? If there will be like points scored inside and the defense will collapse so that the shooters will be open. But because the Lakers just did a really good job at daring Jimmy Butler to take jumpers instead of attacking the basket, and Butler in return was not as aggressive, so the Lakers were able to pull it off. Okay. And then one last point. I think this was very evident also in Game 4, which will be crucial in Game 5 as well. During the finishing kick, the Lakers kept on going to one play. Okay, the high pick and roll. And whoever was guarding, or whoever was assigned to be guarded by either Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero, they were the ones who were setting the screen, right? And it was just easy picking for LeBron, right? Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero. I mean, they're it's just pick or poison for them. Like for the Heat, like what would you do? Would you remove your two best shooters so that you will be better defensively, or will you allow your shooters to be the ones guarding LeBron and LeBron just easy picking and running the pick and roll or one-on-one? They kept going to that play, and Miami just didn't have an answer for that. Right? On the other hand, for Miami, again with Butler, they practically need to always play a perfect game, just like what they did in Game 3 to make it work. Because you might say, well, it was a close game. You know, what are you saying? It was a close game. It could have been anybody's game. Yes, I know that. But then there's also a reason why great teams end up winning. It's not just because they get the calls. They did not. You know, Miami just missed out on certain things. And there was this play when Hero lost the ball. I think it was Rondo who got the swipe, and then they got an easy layup out of it. Right? And then the transition defense really struggles, especially when the Lakers are playing with pace. So let's see. There will be 2 days rest before Game 5. Yeah, Game 5 will be on Saturday, Friday night, so Saturday morning here. So that's the. Let's see what kind of adjustments they will make for game number 5. Well, the Lakers close it up. They now have a 3-1 lead. Throughout the playoffs, this was the case. They finished the series in 5, from Portland to Houston to Denver. So will they finish it on Saturday, or will the Heat be able to extend it to another game? Of course, some of the theorists would say that it will end 4-1, perfect commemoration for the Mamba, who died at the age of 41. So we don't know if that would be the case. But I think the Lakers, as long as they bring home the Larry O'Brien trophy, I think that's what matters to them. This really for doing it for more than them. This actually dedicating it for the Mamba. Let's see if they'll be able to close it out on Saturday. For the Heat, they need to play their best. They cannot win without them playing a perfect game. It's just so hard. Guys like Olynyk, Kendrick Nunn, they have to step up. Because if you're gonna think about it, Butler, Hero, Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, they already played well. Iguodala tried to play his best defense already. Even Jay Crowder, he did have 8.7 rebounds. But again, when it comes to the firepower, it's just hard to beat the Lakers, who at the end of the day have the 2 best players, not just in the series, but practically in the whole league, right? So it really helps if you have like 2 of the top, arguably 4 players in the league playing on your